Ladies and gentlemen, let me warmly welcome you to the 15th webinar of Sri Lanka Agriculture Extension Association. Sri Lanka Agriculture Extension Association thought that it's opportune to start a series of webinars to disseminate important field level information on different aspects related to the agriculture sector so that it will help us to uplift not only the extension and advisory services, but also the overall agricultural sector in the country. Now, today, in our 15th webinar, we have collaborated with Crop Life Sri Lanka, a very progressive professional group who are working to uplift the overall agriculture sector. And we thought that it's fitting to focus on the crop protection products, which is an important area which is related to all these aspects, especially when it comes to products, when it comes to crop-related products. Now, we thought to have two webinar sessions on this. So we will have the first one today on 6th of April, and the second one will be held on 27th of April, 2023. Throughout these two webinars, we will be focusing on the use of crop protection products, or what we call usually as pesticides, about the present and also about the future trends. So today we have Mr. Senarath Kirivattuduwa, who is the chairperson of Scientific and Outreach Subcommittee of Crop Life Sri Lanka. And in addition, Mr. Kirivattuduwa is also the General Manager, Crop Protection and Planting Material at Haley's Agriculture. And he's also the Director, Haley's Agro Farms Private Limited. So we are very thankful to Crop Life Sri Lanka and also to Mr. Kirivattuduwa for agreeing to share valuable inputs on this very topical area. Without further ado, in the interest of time, I would invite Mr. Senarath Kirivattuduwa to start the session. Over to you, Mr. Kirivattuduwa.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandana Javawadana. And I also extend our thanks on behalf of Crop Life Sri Lanka to Sri Lanka Agriculture Extension Association for giving us this opportunity. And at the outset, I really apologize for my late joining of the session. I will straight away go to the technical discussion bit. Food is a basic human need. Around 16% of global population is still in hunger. So then food security is a very vital topic even at present. This is the World Hunger Map developed by World Food and Agriculture Organization. According to the 2021 issue, Sri Lanka is also not a very safe destination or a nation with respect to the food security. So today we are secured the total population, the global total population is secured because of the Green Revolution which took place in 1960s. Though it is blamed by many people, the global population, which is around 6.5 billion, is having a comfortable life. Otherwise, we may have a lot of difficulties to find our food feed and the other requirements of agriculture produce to produce alternative energies and fiber as well. So let me talk a little bit about the Green Revolution. This is the one who made this. The name Norman Borlaug. He won the Nobel Peace Prize for his invention. So what he did was, he was a wheat breeder in Mexico, and I couldn't find a relevant photograph or a relevant pictogram to illustrate in wheat what he did, but the similar kind of illustration is available with respect to rice. So I will use this photograph to simply explain what he did. So what he did was, in early 50s, in early 40s, we had a lot of wheat and rice plant with number of tillers, some of which are not even productive, and those tillers are not uniformly matured. And what he did was, he did an engineering with the conventional plant breeding or genetic approaches to make the plant uniform and have some limited number of tillers with uniform maturity. And in the same time, the plants made to have erect leaves, which can increase the photosynthesis capacity or the assimilation of food within the plant. Because of this change, the harvest index was increased from 0.3 to 0.5. That means in early plants, the commercial yield was around just 30%. But with the development, they made the commercial available yield or increase it up to 50%. But at present, after further development took place during last 50 years or so, now we have plants with 65% commercial yield. So simply, this is the concept of the Green Revolution. The plant breeders across the world bred high-yielding varieties while accumulating more and more desirable genes, which can increase the potential yield of plants, particularly in rice, wheat, and corn. So similarly, the same thing happened in other crops as well during last 60 years. So if we concern the other crops which we are currently growing, the example is, at present we cultivate the normal corn, which is having 750 metric tons per yield per hectare. But the next step, the hybrid corn can give 2,500 kilograms per acre per season, not the hectare. So, which is a 233% higher yield than even the conventional improved varieties. I'm talking about two sequential processes. First, we develop improved varieties, and then while crossing the potential parents among improved varieties, then came the hybrids. So this exploration of hybrid vigor is mostly on vegetables, not in the cereals, particularly not in rice and wheat. Actually, their yield increase with the hybridity the heterosis is much lower than the vegetable crops. The highest heterosity is recorded in crops like cucumber. In Sri Lanka, in normal OP varieties, we can get only 3 metric tons per acre yield, but with hybrids, which can go up to 15 metric tons per crop. because of this improvement, actually the world is able to feed the 7.5 billion population, which reach in 20. Clearly, this population growth will happen in Asia and Africa. So because of the green revolution, we are able to increase the productivity per unit land area, because in 1960, the population was just 3 billion and we had at least 4.3 hectares to produce the agriculture need of a person. But at present, it has come down up to 1.8. Even out of this available land, now some of the lands are having a lot of problems which can restrict the productivity. So when we consider the factors affecting yield losses, there are 10% post-harvest losses in across the globe. The loss due to fungal diseases is 13%. Loss due to insect damage is 14%. Loss due to weeds is 15%. But when this scenario is considered in a tropical country like ours, where we have a very high biodiversity and we don't experience much of the seasonal variations, the impact of weed is much higher than the global figures. So then, when we consider the yield losses due to all these biotic factors, we may have only 50% of yield if we don't protect our crops from all these biological factors. On top of these biological factors, now there are a lot of abiotic factors like climate change and stresses due to climate changes. So then the food security is a real challenge at present day context. In Sri Lanka, we need 2.6 million tons of rice per year and vegetable 1.2 million metric tons, and at least 1 million metric tons, and corn 0.7 million metric tons, and soybean 0.2 million metric tons to meet our annual requirements.
Mr. Dharmadasa, can you mute?
If we take two crops without the crop protection chemicals, in paddy, the estimated yield loss without crop protection products might be around 41%, and maize So we talk much about the progress. Sri Lanka was reached the self-sufficient in rice in 2010 because of the effort made by our local scientists during last 60 years, and with the impact of green revolution and particularly the improved germplasm we received through International Germplasm Exchange Research Program led by the International Rice Research Institute. With that, of course, we were able to improve the yielding ability as well as the resistance to pests, diseases, and the climatic factors prevail in Sri Lanka. So this is the sequence that we went through. In order to maintain production, this is the amounts of pesticide we imported from 2010 to 2020. The last 10 years, you can see downward trend in pesticide imports. Because we are criticized by many people that Sri Lanka is one of the nations that we overuse pesticides, and our use amount of pesticide is very high. But the statistics shows the other way around. We have reduced the use of pesticide during last 10 years. And you may frequently hear that Sri Lanka is one of the countries use very large amount of chemicals or pesticides in cultivation. But the real fact is we are among the countries with the lowest pesticide use in the world. At present, we are using 157 chemical molecules in Sri Lanka with the approval of the Registrar of Pesticide of the Department of Agriculture. From 1970, we have banned 36 molecules which were used in earlier due to their toxicological impacts. The average use of pesticide in Sri Lanka in total, as an average on total arable land, the amount of active ingredient we use is just 380 kilograms per hectare. Because the pesticides are coming as formulated products. So the active ingredient is the chemical which deliver the objective of the use. So in order to make this active ingredient stable, as well as in order to increase the efficiency of the active ingredient, we add some more chemicals and finally make formulations. So then when we take the average use of formulation on a unit land area, it is 1 kilogram and 56 grams per hectare. But if you focus, or if you consider the same use of pesticide, active ingredients per unit land area in the most developed countries, they are not most developed in industries, they are the most developed countries in agriculture as well. So India is using 600 grams around, and USA nearly 1 kilogram per hectare, and China is 4.6 kilogram, and Japan is 5.9 kilogram. These are available figures if you search the information. So I will skip this more historic information. If someone wants, then I will share this presentation with you, Doctor. Then you can circulate it among the members of the organization.
Thank you.
Right. These slides give you an idea about the toxicities of the chemical that we are using. So according to the LD50 values, this is one of the aspects that the assess agrochemicals based on the mammalian toxicity. So there are few. So this is the composition of those chemicals during the periods that we used. So now, at present, we have most of the chemicals belongs to class 3 and class U. But earlier it was very different. We had a lot of class 1 and class 2 chemicals in use. So this is how the class 1 and class 1, 2, 3, and 4 products, which the trends of using low toxic products in chemicals. So in here, we have a comparison. The chemicals which we used in year 2002 and the year 2016. This is official figures. So we have reduced the number of chemicals which we used in class 1 by 98%. The class 2 chemicals by 29%. And then to fill this gap, we have increased the use of class 3 products by 91%. And then class 4 products by 41%. So therefore, we have shown a very, very progressive development in crop protection industry in Sri Lanka while during these 14 years. So if we take an example, the achievement of self-sufficiency in rice, because at present we import some amount of rice because of a policy decision which we made 2 years back. But of course, we can again reach the self-sufficiency in rice. So approximately today we have 22 million population. But at the time we were doing traditional agriculture, and before we use the chemical fertilizers and the crop protection product, our population was just around 6 million. But during that time, we were importing 60% of rice requirement to the country at the time of independence, if we take a benchmark year. But at present, we are self-sufficient. If we taken into the consideration the growth of the population from 6 million to 22 million, and the production of rice from 40%, actually we produce only 40% to 100% the requirement of the total population. This is kind of a 10-fold or 12-fold growth while during the last 70 years. And now we are cultivating more than 98% of high-yielding varieties, which we developed with the help of the international collaboration and, of course, the devotion of our rice breeders in Sri Lanka. And better crop management, application of fertilizer and the land preparation and other management practices, and use of agrochemical as well. So just 2 years back, we were able to achieve 4.5 tons per hectare. Average rice yield and cultivated extent is just, if we consider the growth of cultivation extent compared to the 1940s, it is 1.85. The most important thing is, while during the time of 1940s, our life expectancy of the population was just 46 years, but at present it is 76 years. So there is a general criticism in the society that due to the consumption of toxic food, I like to use this word actually because it is the common word used in the society. Due to the poisons contained in the food which we are consuming, our life expectancy has reduced. That is the common blame that exists in the society. But when we analyze the facts, which is other way around, And other factors contributed: improved research and agriculture extension services. This is where the role of the members of your organization is come to very significant achieving the food security in Sri Lanka, because the researchers can generate technology. Even the crop life and the other industry members, like the people who introduce fertilizers and other inputs which can increase the crop yield, they can bring those technologies into the country. But finally, you are the people who promote those things among farmers. Therefore, it is very important your service to achieve food security. And the other factors contributed were improved health service in Sri Lanka, improved education service, and improved food and nutrient status, increased adoption of modern technology in the production. So when it comes to crop protection products, again, so these are the three challenges that we have at present. Actually, this is not relevant to the present day context, which is the relevant thing for years to come. And avoid overuse of crop protection chemicals. Not only crop protection chemicals, all the inputs which we use to increase the food production or the agriculture productivity, because there is a consequence of land degradation and environmental footprints, and of course lot of repercussions on this sustainability of the environmental system because of the overuse of agriculture inputs. Therefore, we have to reduce this, or we have to stop this overuse, and then the misuse. This misuse is happened particularly in agrochemicals when there is a knowledge gap in farmers. Therefore, both industry and the extension community has a responsibility to educate farmers to avoid this misuse. Then, of course, we can reduce the impact or the burden on the environment, as well as we can reduce the cost of production, because we are in a very challenging economic situation where even 1 to 2% of cost of production is significant if it is in a higher side under present day context. And the very recent consequence due to the policy decision that the Sri Lankan government made to ban agrochemicals is the encroach of illegal product, unauthorized product to Sri Lanka. Because in one of my early slides, I mentioned that Sri Lanka banned 36 chemicals which were having high tox profiles. But still, our big neighbor, India, is using some of those products because they have even some non-food crops like cotton. In cotton, of course, the use of high toxic chemicals is quite common. But when there is a shortage of safer registered products in Sri Lanka, so those products, those high toxic products which were using in non-food crops in India, even some of the food crops started to slowly getting into the Sri Lankan territory. But now this has become a very big problem, and actually we feel, the industry members feel, that At present, more than 30-35% of our market share is with those illegal products. So they are cheap but high in toxicity, and still we don't know the quality of these products, because when it comes to pesticide, the consignment which we bring in are highly regularized or controlled by the relevant authorities. We need to get the approval consignment basis. And even after bringing each and every consignment to Sri Lanka, we have to produce samples and the quality certificates of each and every batch to the relevant authority, and they will test the product against the produced QC and the sample produced, and whether the specifications are in line with the certificates produced and the certificate produced or the information given in the original registration. So therefore, it is actually no chance to come in, or very, very rare that a product which is of a specific come into Sri Lanka through the official channel. But because of this illegal pesticide, we never know at what point our foods are contaminated. So the sustainable strategy in the long run, because I didn't touch the organic crop protection chemicals, and most importantly, potential microbes and the other living organisms which we can use for the crop protection, which is one of the most interesting areas, and a lot of development are taking place in Sri Lanka as well as outside Sri Lanka with respect to this area. So then our objective should be, in the time being, we have to reduce the use of chemical use in the crop protection and increase the natural product and the biopesticides used in agriculture, along with the low toxic chemicals and other IPM strategies. So therefore, we and you have a very big responsibility to educate farmers and bring these new technologies to the farming community. At present, so as a good thing which we came across with the bad policy decision during the last 2 years, so some of our farmers tend to think of the other alternative approaches to protect their crops from pests and diseases and weeds. Of course, to fight with weeds, the available biological agents and the organic products are very limited. But to control insect pest, the nematodes, and the fungal and bacterial pathogens, there are a number of potential living organisms available. So this has to develop with the time being, like in other countries. But still, this is a small industry when we take the market share of the total crop protection industry. Such biological and organic products just supply the 5% of the demand in the global crop protection industry. So way forward to assure food safety while achieving the food security is discriminate the use of pesticide while encouraging integrated pest management. So this is a kind of a must-do practice at present, and strictly regulate and monitor the use of pesticide in order to avoid the misuse and overuse. Educate farmers through professional agriculture extension service. ban all toxic agrochemicals and encourage restriction of reduced risk product. Encourage registration of reduced risk product, because there are at present there are some products called semi-chemicals or naturalites, because there are some products having the ability to suppress the growth of pest and pathogens, but when those chemicals are in the natural form, their activity is a bit less. But while making some modifications in those chemicals, small modification in the molecules, which we synthesize through a natural process, can enhance the ability of crop protection. So this is the immediate change that we can introduce into our market, because the most of the research-based multinational companies are now into this development. So a lot of such semi-chemicals or naturalites are being registered at present in among developed countries. So then we need to bring this technology in Sri Lanka and disseminate it through the extension service. Continuous monitoring of MRL and manage residue within non-observable effect limits. This is very important when we consider the export related food crop production, because we are exporting a lot of processed fruits and vegetables, and this is one of the most potential area where we can expect a growth and earn more foreign currency. So then therefore we need to educate our farmers. If you try to deviate from the recommendation, then it might affect not only him or her, the total population, as well as finally the national agriculture production system. Encourage the public to home gardening and use or cultivate crops or their needs with minimum inputs. So this is also happening in Sri Lanka, and at present people are much talking about the urban and metro agriculture, and I think we need to encourage this as well. So these are some of news clips we found in illegal pesticides available in the market. So I really want to highlight or stress again that we need to eliminate this, and your extension professionals can educate farmers not to use this kind of illegal products, because we will bring the legal and safe products into the country to satisfy their demand. These are some of photographs, the illegal products available in the market. Then sometimes you may not be able to recognize whether they are really a legal product or illegal products. So when we were talking in the industry forums few years back, 10 years back, India is an island nation, and therefore we don't have a problem with counterfeit. Our problem is now much the total the food we produce is in a risk because of these illegal products. That's why I'm trying to highlight this. And thank you very much. Dr. Chandana.
Yes. So we have come to the end of the presentation, and we have maybe about 5 minutes. If you have any questions or comments, Mr. Kirivattuduage will be pleased to answer them. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Now, if I am to start now, something that comes to our mind is that when we visit a doctor who is well versed in pharmacology, they don't encourage using drugs, because they always encourage us maybe to change our diet pattern, or maybe the lifestyle, like having exercises. So likewise, what do you think overall in the country that there is a tendency among our farmers and even among us to go for the easy option, that is to make use of some pesticides? So what are your observations? I'm sure that you have many years of experience and expertise on this. What's your overall observation on that?
Yes, doctor. What you mentioned is very correct. And of course, the same principle, similar to the antibiotic resistance developed by most of the pathogens of human, which can cause human diseases, have the same kind of biological principle is with weeds and the pathogens, because they also can develop resistances and cross resistances when we misuse or overuse pesticides. So similarly, because let's say if we go and sought medical treatment from a doctor for a bacterial infection, so he may not give us a back-to-back the two antibiotics having a same mode of action. So similarly, in agriculture as well, we want to educate farmers not to use the products having similar mode of action again and again to solve their problems. And of course, we need to educate farmers and the extension officers, and particularly the dealers who are selling these products, to minimize the use of products and how could I say that, the optimum use. Encourage a farmer to use a product whenever necessary only. If not, of course, the same risk is there as misusing medical drugs.
So on that note, let me thank the Crop Life Sri Lanka, and especially Mr. Senarath Kirivattuduage, the chairperson of Scientific and Outreach Committee, for sharing with us valuable information and insights on the role of crop protection products in securing the food security. We very much hope that this information would benefit or would have enhanced some of your opinions, and would ultimately lead to better crop practices among the farmers and the other related communities in the country. We are in another week's time, we are stepping into a new year. Now, Sri Lanka is an agricultural country. So the intelligent use of crop protection products means very much when it comes to the prosperity of Sri Lanka. So let's hope that this valuable information and insights will be made use of not only by the professionals, but also by the overall stakeholders. With that note, we also would like to remind you that our next webinar is on 27th of April 2023, which is also related to crop protection products, which is conducted by the Crop Life Sri Lanka. So while thanking our resource person and all who have participated today, we conclude today's session and wish all of you a very happy New Year. Thank you.